John and I had been married for 8 years. To everyone else, we were the perfect couple. We had a beautiful home, two wonderful kids, and what seemed like a fairy tale life. But behind closed doors, things were different. For the past year, I felt a growing distance between us. He was always on his phone, smiling at texts that weren't from me. He started working late, attending conferences on weekends. My heart knew, but my head refused to believe it. One evening, I decided to follow him. He said he had a late meeting with a client. I watched from my car as he pulled into a fancy restaurant downtown. A few minutes later, a woman walked up to his table. It was my best friend, Sarah. They laughed, held hands across the table, and shared a kiss that shattered my world into a million pieces. The drive home was a blur of tears. I felt a cocktail of rage, betrayal, and profound sadness. How could they do this to me? Sarah, who had been my maid of honor. John, the man I had built a life with. I spent the next few days in a fog, trying to figure out what to do. Confront them? Demand a divorce? The thought of tearing our family apart was agonizing. I loved our children more than anything, and the idea of them growing up in a broken home was my worst nightmare. So I decided to wait, to gather more evidence, to understand the full scope of their betrayal before I made any moves. I needed to be smart, not just emotional. My chance came a few weeks later. John announced he was going on a business trip for the weekend. I knew instantly it was with her. That Saturday morning after he left, I found his old laptop in his study. He hadn't used it in months. Curiosity got the better of me. I booted it up, my heart pounding. His email was still logged in. And there it was, an entire thread of emails between him and Sarah, planning their secret getaways, mocking my naivety, detailing their affair. But as I scrolled deeper, my shock turned into something else. I found emails that weren't about their affair. They were business emails. John had invested almost all of our savings into a high-risk startup with Sarah's brother, Mark. The emails were frantic. The startup was failing, and fast. Mark was making desperate pleas for more cash, and John was panicking, admitting he had poured everything we had into it without my knowledge. Then I saw the most recent chain. It was from a week ago. The subject line read, "Urgent, final notice." The company had gone bankrupt. All the money was gone. Every last cent of our savings, the college funds for our kids, the nest egg we had worked so hard to build. It had all vanished. He had gambled our entire future on a scheme with his lover's family, and he had lost everything. Suddenly I felt a strange sense of calm wash over me. The rage and hurt were still there, but they were overshadowed by a cold, clear realization. He hadn't just betrayed me emotionally. He had betrayed our family's security. He had risked his children's future for his own selfish desires. And now, the consequences were catching up to him. He was returning from his romantic weekend with Sarah to a reality of his own making, financial ruin. That evening, when John walked through the door, he looked exhausted, but he tried to put on a happy face. "Honey, I'm home. The trip was a huge success," he said, trying to kiss me. I stepped back. I held up his old laptop, the screen glowing with the damning emails. His face went pale. He started to stammer, to make excuses, but I held up my hand to stop him. "I know, John," I said, my voice steady. "I know about Sarah, and I know about the money." His whole body slumped in defeat. The arrogant, confident man I once knew disappeared, replaced by a broken, desperate person. He started to cry, begging for my forgiveness, pleading that we could fix this. And in that moment, as I looked at the man who had shattered my heart, I didn't feel hatred. I didn't feel the need for revenge. I just felt a quiet finality. The universe had already served its own form of justice. He thought he was coming home from a secret escape, but he was actually walking into his own self-made prison of debt and deceit. His affair wasn't just a betrayal, it was the catalyst for his own downfall. As he sat there, head in his hands, realizing the full extent of the mess he had created, I did something I never expected. I smiled. It wasn't a happy smile, but one of grim satisfaction. He thought he had gotten away with it, that he was living a double life. But the truth was, karma had been working silently in the background all along. He didn't just lose my trust. He lost everything, and the day he found out that I knew the truth was also the day he had to face the consequences he had tried so hard to hide. The truth had set me free, but it had trapped him completely. And that was a justice more potent than any revenge I could have ever planned. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more content. We'll see you in the next video.